On C-SPAN 2, we're live this morning for an event with Senate Judiciary Committee member John Cornyn and Congressman John Conyers, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. They'll be discussing the current state of the Supreme Court, the federal judiciary, and issues in Congress which could impact trial lawyers and defense counsel. They're speaking to DRI, the voice of the defense bar, National Organization of Defense Trial Lawyers and Corporate Counsel. They're holding their annual meeting in Washington. The previous panel just wrapped up. We expect the event with Senator Cornyn and Congressman Conyers to get underway in just a few minutes. We have other live coverage coming up today on the C-SPAN networks as well. This afternoon, FCC Chairman Kevin Martin and James Winston of the National Association of Black-Owned Broadcasters will be part of a forum on minority ownership of telecom and media properties. It's part of a Rainbow Push Coalition symposium on media and telecommunications. That's live at 12:30 on C-SPAN. And later today from the Close-Up Foundation here on C-SPAN 2, a look at the relationship between the press and Congress. We'll hear from Politico staff writer Martin Katie. That's at 7 Eastern. And then more Road to the White House coverage for you tonight here on C-SPAN 2 with Congressman Ron Paul, Republican presidential candidate. He'll talk about conservatism and American foreign policy. He's at the Robert Taft Club in Arlington, Virginia, and we'll have that for you tonight at 9 Eastern. By the way, Congressman Paul also a guest on Washington Journal this morning at about 9:30 Eastern. Well, this morning, the Associated Press reported that former Vice President Al Gore and the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change are winners of the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts to fight global warming. That from the Associated Press and other news sources this morning. And you can read more about that at capitalnews.org later on this morning. Again, we're waiting to hear from Senator John Cornyn and Congressman Conyers on issues in the federal judiciary, live this morning here on C-SPAN 2. Here on C-SPAN 2, live in Washington, awaiting the start of an event with Senator John Cornyn of Texas and Congressman John Conyers, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Senator Cornyn, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. They're at an event with DRI, the voice of the defense bar, a national organization of defense trial lawyers and corporate counsel. They'll be discussing the current state of the Supreme Court and the federal judiciary, and their panel should get underway shortly. The Associated Press reporting this morning on the travels of President Bush today. They say the president will mix business and politics on a trip to Florida. He'll be attending a private luncheon for the Republican National Committee and delivering a Miami speech today on trade policy before heading to his ranch in Texas. And next week, the president's Attorney General nominee, Michael Mukasey, will be on Capitol Hill. The confirmation hearings for the Attorney General nominee are next Wednesday, and we'll have that live for you on C-SPAN 3. C-SPAN Radio and C-SPAN online at cspan.org, and that'll be Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern next week.
Yesterday, one of the things I was going through, the time was changed and announced, and I was like walking in late, and I'm thinking, I'm just not on.
Here on C-SPAN 2, we're waiting for the start of an event with Senator John Cornyn and Congressman John Conyers, both Judiciary Committee members, to talk about the Supreme Court and the federal judiciary live here in Washington. This morning in the Wall Street Journal, they're reporting on an interview with President Bush saying many Americans have lost faith in their ability to compete in the global economy, vowed to revive the country's free trade agenda, and he chastised corporate America for behavior that is adding to the public's anxiety. He spoke yesterday with his economic team, met with his economic team, and after that meeting had some brief comments for reporters.
Just had a meeting with members of my economic team, and I thank you all for coming. I particularly want to thank a director of the OMB, Jim Nussel, for his briefing on the newest numbers regarding our deficit. You know, last February, it was projected that our deficit would be $244 billion. And today, the director informed us that the actual deficit is $163 billion. In other words, as a result of the hard work of the American people, this economy is growing. The growing economy has yielded more tax revenues than anticipated. And because of fiscal restraint, those tax revenues went to reduce our deficit. The deficit today is at 1.2% of GDP, which is lower than the average of the last 40 years. In other words, we have told the American people that by keeping taxes low, we can grow the economy. By working with Congress to set priorities, we can be fiscally responsible, and we can head toward balance, and that's exactly where we're headed. Now the fundamental question is whether the United States Congress will work constructively with the administration to keep taxes low and to keep spending sound. I look forward to working with members of both parties to continue keeping our fiscal house in order, to continue to head for a balanced budget, but it's going to require the Congress to show fiscal restraint, fiscal discipline. One of the reasons why the Constitution wisely gave the President the veto is to help them exercise fiscal discipline and fiscal constraint. It's very important for Congress to also understand that they should not be trying to take money out of the pockets of the small business owners and working people. One of the reasons why this economy is robust is because taxes are low. And in order to keep making sure that this economy grows, we got to keep them low. After all, people are working here in America. We've had 49 consecutive months of uninterrupted job growth, which is a record. And we intend to keep breaking that record by good fiscal policy here in Washington, D.C. I want to thank you all for your briefing. Thanks for coming back.
And the president continues on his economic theme today, a speech about trade policy today in Miami. We are here live in Washington awaiting the start of an event with Senator John Cornyn of the Judiciary Committee, a Judiciary Committee member, and also Congressman John Conyers, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, talking about the Supreme Court and the state of the federal judiciary. Should get underway shortly with live coverage here on C-SPAN 2.